Hello, hello. I believe we are live. Hello, you beautiful bastards. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. You're probably watching after the fact. That's fine. But today we will be watching. Please disregard my my search history. We will be reacting, or I'll giving my take. I'll be giving my take on the Brett Cooper situation. That is Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire. Now, there's a lot of takes on this. I think most of them are negative IQ. There's people speculating on why she left. She was saying she was ousted, that it's unfair to Brett. But to be honest, like on the surface, you know what it looks like? It looks like Brett had some asks. I don't want to say demands because it makes it sound like she was being too, I don't know, picky. Like she expected a lot. But to be honest, it's doesn't seem. I don't think it would be unfounded to say that the Daily Wire expects a lot from its hosts. Like we saw the contract with the Steven Crowder contract, and it's a lot. Like how much they have to work. I mean, sure, it's a great job. You talk to that camera, shit. If they're hiring, I'm available. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, they expect a lot. They expect. I think what was in the contract, like one or two big projects or sorry, a big project every 1 or 2 years. I think like 6 episodes a week, something like that. And you have to film in advance. I don't remember. Like if you take time off, I mean, um, if you're an internet celebrity, if you're famous the way Brett Cooper is, like that's a big ass. Like you want to maybe do a video a month, and you'd probably be living good with that, you know. And then especially if you're someone like Brett Cooper who has talked about wanting to be a mother, wanting to homeschool her kids, is recently married. I don't know when she got married, like in the past year, I think. Um, then yeah, you want more time to yourself. You don't want to be doing a lot of these big projects. And she said herself in her um, farewell video or in the little clip she did, saying goodbye to the Daily Wire. She was like, "Oh, I want to take on new projects and things like that." So I think this was an amicable separation. What is it? What do people say? Not amicable. I'm using the wrong word here. But I think this was like from both parties, like mutually agreed upon. You know, this wasn't like they kicked her out or she was like annoyed with, or I don't know, she had like some dispute with the Daily Wire or something. I think it was just she had certain things she wanted to do. They had certain things they wanted from her, and they just couldn't come to an agreement. For all we know, maybe she asked for too much money. There's a limit of how much you can pay a host. You know what I mean? She's not worth infinite money. Obviously, she's a good host. I mean, she's a good. I mean, she brings in views, but like I said, she's not worth. Piss off. She's not worth infinite money. You know, every host has a price, and this is what people don't understand about. You know, things like I don't. I don't want to make a sports analogy right off the bat, but this is like in soccer, like David De Gea, the goalkeeper for Manchester United, former goalkeeper. I think he was like one of the highest. I think he was like the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, how could they get rid of him? Why didn't they renew his contract?" Well, cause he's fucking paid insane money. What do you mean why? Like, he's not worth infinite money. But nobody ever talks about his wages. Nobody ever. They're like, why has nobody signed him? It's because he has some high wage demands. That's why. nobody's worth nobody's worth infinite money. But I don't know. People forget about that when they talk about celebrities. I feel like um, they forget that these are real people getting paid money, that they're employed by somebody, not they're not just I don't know. The clubs have a finite amount of money to pay them, same as the Daily Wire. The company has a finite amount of money to pay its hosts. It's not a charity. Anyway, let's react to some of the videos, and I'll get more on my takes. I have a Google Doc open with some notes on what we know. So I can look back at this and say, well, this is exactly what she said. This is, oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. I'm an idiot. Is this the right screen? I don't know. Let me check these. Yeah, this one. Okay. No, let's do the big screen. There we go. So y'all can see nice and large. So these are my notes on what we know about Brett Cooper. So this is from her video. Okay, she was not forced out. Matter of fact, let's watch the video. Look at this picture, bro. Brett Cooper breaks sons after leaving the Daily Wire. Like, I don't know, bro. These videos are insane. They're just insane, bro. And then this cunt, the quartering. I fucking hate this bastard, man. This fucking, this fat Brokeback Mountain reject. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He's just very. Has she uploaded a video yet? No, probably not, right? Yeah, no, okay. BrettCooper.com. Well, interesting. I didn't know she had a site. Something new coming soon. Yeah, it's just gonna be her and her. It's just gonna be her content, you know, at her own pace, like, um, basically making the same ideas, the same videos she does now, but like I said, at her own pace. She doesn't have somebody over her. She's in full control. She can decide when to step away from it at any time. She has the time to be a mother and homeschool. I have a question for all these people that are let me put it back to me. I have a question for all these people who are speculating about why she left. Okay, do you first of all have you ever heard Brett Cooper speak about being a mother, wanting to homeschool her kids? And if you have, my question is, when do you think she would have the time to do that? To homeschool a kid? Can you imagine the time? I don't even. I mean, you can't do that part time. That's like being with your kids 24/7. She's recently married. How old is she? Assuming she wants to be married, I'm sorry, she's already married, obviously. Assuming she wants to have kids, fairly soon. I mean, almost as soon as she's pregnant, like, well, maybe not as soon as she's pregnant. But basically, she's going to be very involved in her kids' lives. Like, when do you think she'd have time to run a show? She'd basically be, like, retired from the day she has her kid. Because assuming she has more than one, she'd be homeschooling each of them, and that's a full-time job in itself. But if she has her own show, if she like runs it apart from like a company like the Daily Wire, she has full control. She can say, okay, I have a little slot of time here or there. I can record a video, do a little reaction or something, do a live stream here or there whenever she has time, and still make money and still be an internet personality in the conservative space, and still be a homeschooling mother, not have to send her kids to school or have a nanny or something, which I'm sure she'd still have because she's probably filthy rich. But anyway, Brett Cooper age. Let me share the screen again. Okay, she's 23. Isn't this like your peak fertility? When are when are women most fertile? It was like, I think it's 23. Late teens, late 20s. Okay, well that's a big range. I'm looking for like a number, bruh. It begins to decline early 30s. Okay, so it's good until like this is 20 to 24. Okay. Wait, what is this? Likelihood of I should probably open this in a big screen. No, just the image. You fuck. Oh my gosh, why is the image so small? Likelihood of infertility, likelihood of getting pregnant. Okay, so it's peak 20 to 24, and it just goes down from there, according to whatever this is. Don't know if it's accurate. We'll trust that. So she's at her peak right now. Every year she waits, it's getting worse. Well, it's not that bad. I mean, 63% at 30 to 34. Aren't you geriatric at like past 30 something? Like, isn't this starting to be geriatric? I guess it's not that bad for women until you're like past 40. Then you're like really worried about having a baby. Doesn't matter. My point is, if she really wants to be a mom, she's gonna be a mom now. Okay? Piss off. Don't question me, okay? Yeah, let's watch her video first, just to see exactly what she said. Because I feel like people like watch the video and they don't listen. And I'll explain why in a little bit. Because, look, she said, I think one of the key things she said was that she's leaving by her own choice. So when people say, oh, she was outed, like she was ousted, like they didn't give her the choice to stay, like then you'd be calling her a liar. Because she herself said, no, I want to leave. Like, this is my choice. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said something like this. Let's watch
Hey
this.
guys, some of you have heard the
Wait.
rumors online.
Wait! Let me get my luscious locks out of the way. Let me open my stream on my phone. Actually, I want to see what it looks like. Just want to monitor it. It's a little bit... It's also a little bit hard to hear myself speak. What is this? I open YouTube and like a wisdom teeth video comes up. What is happening right now? I'm so sorry. The stream is ruined. I'm over here. I'm really looking at nonsense. Okay. One watching now. Me. Okay. That's not sad at all. Okay.
And the rumors are mostly true.
Oh my gosh, it's too low.
Today, December 10th, will be my last day. Hey guys, some of you have heard the rumors online, and the rumors are mostly true.
Firstly, I want to say, how did these rumors even get out? I'm kind of curious, but I don't know. I'm going to be eating cake, by the way. My mom made sick pecan cake yesterday. I'm going to be enjoying that. Actually, can I mute myself? Wait, let me check, actually, because I don't know if I'm actually muted. Those work. Okay, well, I'll try to mute myself whenever I'm chewing, so you guys don't have to hear that. But if I don't, my apologies. Anyway.
Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice.
It's not true that I was being forced out. It was my choice to leave. Remember that when anybody says, okay, I think I wrote that on my script notes. I'm sorry to talk with my mouth full. Let me finish through this. Damn, that cake is so good. She was not forced out. Okay, number one. I had it written here. It was her own choice. These are key. She said it herself. And I already noted these, so it's a bittersweet decision. She wants to take a new direction personally, professionally. Personally, have kids, spend more time at home. Professionally, maybe work a little bit less, do other projects, where it's not like a conflict of interest with the Daily Wire, maybe. New challenge endeavors, same thing. Work with as many people as she can. Obviously, she's friends with Candace. Now that Candace isn't at the Daily Wire, it's a little bit awkward, obviously. Yeah.
To leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most
bittersweet. She wants to stay.
Unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comment section, you all have made me braver, more articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community. But
This is an important point. I'm so sorry for you watching after the fact. I know. I should stop eating. She's so grateful. Wait, let me hear what she said again.
More articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community.
She said, I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community. I don't know who Brett Cooper was before the Daily Wire. I think she had like a little bit of a following, maybe. I'm not sure. She wasn't Brett Cooper. You know what I mean? Like, she's only Brett Cooper because the Daily Wire made her Brett Cooper. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't know who she is still. Yeah, maybe she might be doing her own thing somewhere. I don't know. She wouldn't be who she is today. She's only Brett Cooper because they put their marketing behind her. They had the push. They had her on their shows, like backstage or whatever. They made the set for her. They had the setup. They hired all the people that run the cameras behind her. She didn't, she didn't do this shit by herself. She's only who she is because of the company. She's thankful that they gave her the opportunity to grow her community. No, they created her community. Not not trying to insult Brett here, like by saying that. I guess what I'm saying is she misspoke a little bit, right? And I'm not saying she's trying to. I'm not belittling her part in this. Like, yeah, obviously she's a big part of it. Maybe the biggest part. Like, she is the host after all. Like, people watch for her. But yeah, she wouldn't be who she was without the Daily Wire anyway.
At this point in my life, I am ready to take on a new direction, both personally and professionally. This means new challenges and new.
Okay, what does that mean? Personally, professionally. Personally, I would assume that means having more time off, being able to be a mom, wanting to homeschool her kids. That's like first thing comes to mind. What else could she mean?
Endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for this show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section, and I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best. We have had 3 great years, and I am proud of what we've accomplished together. Leaving this show and the platforms that we've built is hard, but I'm very excited for what's to come. Knowing that we have brought so many people together in
By the way, it sounds like she's about to cry here, which I find interesting.
laughter over these last 3 years means the world to me. I appreciate all of you, so let's chat again soon, but in the meantime, go touch some grass, kick some rocks, and
Never.
catch up shortly. And now for some final thoughts from the God King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed. We're sad to see Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey.
Jeremy Boring, sad to see her go. I mean, sounds like you wanted to keep her, obviously.
Brett's an amazing talent, both as a personality and as an actress. It's been a pleasure to
my
see her
gosh,
bring the
get the
comment
shit off
section
the
to life
screen.
these last 3 years, and her performance in the Pendragon cycle is sensational. I'm certain that whatever Brett creates next will be filled with the same joy and laughter and heart that she's brought to all of her work at the Daily Wire. And we wish her nothing but the best.
Wish her nothing
So
but the
my
best. Does that sound like, I don't know, somebody bitter that she's leaving? I mean, maybe he is. Yeah, obviously, he probably is. Oh my gosh, the Sydney Watson video. That's what I want to get to. That's probably that's the first one I'm gonna react to. Like, why didn't it show up whenever I searched it? Brett Cooper. I would think it's the first thing. What the? Look at this AI shit. It has 1 million views. What the? What the hell, man? Oh my gosh, Ruslan made a video on this. Okay, we'll react to this too, hopefully. Well, it's kind of long, 13 minutes. Oh, thought my phone was going off. Okay. Okay, sorry, just looking at something. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna reference this. But we'll keep this here. Anyway, this has everything we need to know, basically. These are all the counterfactuals. Okay, let's watch what Sydney Watson's genius self has to say. Oh my gosh, what the
Your brain
what the
lights up like
fuck?
a TV when you're playing video.
Of you who don't know, Brett Cooper.
I was already watching this, that's why it's already like halfway in. I watched most of it. I don't think I finished it, but yeah, Sydney Watson, genius. Just absolute genius. She has the best takes. No, just kidding. This is I don't know that much about her, but I think everybody's having like a very reactionary, like, oh, we like Brett Cooper, therefore the Daily Wire is the bad person. All this, like, people can't just come to a disagreement on terms. That's what I think happened. Either this is what happened probably. Brett Cooper wanted certain things in her contract, like work less, I don't know, being paid a certain way, a certain amount, and the Daily Wire was like, no, we can't offer you that, and that's it. That's probably what happened. Anyway, not to talk too much before I get into the
Oh
video.
boy, this is a can of worms.
But no, why is it a can of worms?
Hi, my name is Sydney.
So-
Welcome back to hell.
So, melodramatic? What does melodramatic mean? How's it different from just saying dramatic? Mellow? Is it like, I'm using words without knowing what I mean. Exaggerated, sensational, or a sensational, dramatic piece of exaggerated care. I don't know. She's just being dramatic. Like, it's not a can of worms, bro.
And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Lumen, who are actually great. Also, I am very sorry that I disappeared for the last 6 weeks, but that's because you guys actually blessed me with a ton of tea orders through my company, Lions Tea Exchange, and
We don't care!
thing on lane. Also because I made a really dramatic video and then just disappeared for 6 weeks, and you know, obviously that's not the greatest thing to do to your audience. It's not cool. But as I have watched a lot of the commentary and the speculation.
By the way, I feel like I kind of slandered Sydney Watson here. I do like her. I do enjoy her content. I've enjoyed some of her content before. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but I'm not saying she's dumb or anything, but in this video, I think she comes across a little dumb, little speculative. That's what most people come across as in this Daily Wire Brett Cooper breakup. They just come across as speculative, which is weird to me. 'Cause it's like you have no information and you're coming to. Well, to be fair, I guess conservatives are kind of known for being conspiracy theorists, so it's kind of on brand. But yeah, I don't know.
And everything as it has unfolded, I decided that I do in fact want to weigh in. Because like I said, apparently this is what I do now. I disappear for a month and then I reappear ready to say crazy things. So for those of you who don't know, Brett Cooper, until recently, hosted the Daily Wire show, The Comments Section. The show was geared towards younger people, and the premise was that Brett would read people's comments on various issues and topics and weigh in herself.
Yeah,
she
we
built
know.
a huge audience in a very short space of time, and has gotten really popular as a conservative online personality. Then, a few weeks ago, information started popping up suggesting that Brett was being pushed out of the company, but also her show, obviously. A video posted to Twitter by a lad called Ian Carroll made several claims about Daily Wire, and some of the alleged
First of all, what is this fuck?
issues and unrest taking place at the company. Ian said a lot of things, but specifically, he had this to say about Brett. What is my voice doing?
And it looks like Brett Cooper signed that exact kind of contract. And she has built her brand and earned her place with 4.5 million subscribers, loyal fans. But then when I talked to my source, it got real dark. And I'm not sure why Brett wanted out and started to be unhappy there and why this whole thing started. My source wasn't really sure either, but once she crossed Jeremy Boring and Jeremy was pissed, he decided he would replace her with her best friend. And so he made a contract offer that Reagan apparently could not refuse, and he is now replacing Brett with Reagan slowly until the expiration of the current contract with Brett in December.
Ian is referencing something here that many viewers of the show were finding a little bit confusing and maybe somewhat suspicious. That this random woman called Reagan was showing up to basically fill in for Brett. And then obviously now that we know that Reagan is Brett's producer and also Brett's best friend. Or she used to be. Reagan even attended Brett's wedding as her maid of honor. So they're good friends, or they were at least, which in my opinion makes all of this so much worse. Ian goes on to say that Brett has signed an NDA and therefore is barred from commenting on.
Okay, I just want to say, as of right now, I don't think there's anything. It's all speculation, obviously. This guy says he has a source. How are we supposed to know if we can trust him? But it makes sense. Like, supposedly Brett unfollowed this lady Reagan. Obviously Reagan's filling in for the show. It would make sense to me that the Daily Wire offered Reagan, something good. Maybe they offered Brett a not so great deal, and so she can say it was my choice. I didn't want to take the deal, and not lie, essentially, right? So, I guess as of right now. There's nothing too crazy being said. We're not jumping to conclusions, right? Well, I mean, we kind of are a little bit, but it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to say, okay, maybe that's what happened. The Daily Wire offered Reagan a good deal behind Brett's back. They offered Brett another deal. Brett didn't take hers. Reagan's was pretty good, so they took Reagan. Or rather, they offered Brett maybe less than what Brett expected, like maybe a lot less. Brett said, well, I don't like this deal. I can do a lot better on my own. She can say it was her choice. It's bittersweet. She wanted to stay on better terms. They offer it to Reagan. Brett has a falling out with Reagan, unfollows her, whatever. That makes sense.
On any of this, and that Reagan reportedly took acting classes to try to emulate Brett's mannerisms and speech on the show.
So she is being forced to continue her show as though nothing is going on, while they replace her with her best friend. And probably are going to manufacture some sort of slander or I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is where the fucking tinfoil hat comes in. They're gonna manufacture some slander on her. Why? On what basis are you? This is just straight up. You just made this shit up. Like, bro, what do you mean they're gonna manufacture some slander on her? Like, when this guy says this, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can trust you because you just made this up. I mean,
but they're probably
just nonsense.
Going to manufacture some sort of logical reason why Brett pushed herself out and they had to fill in with Reagan.
Why do they have to manufacture it? Why can't it just be the fact that they didn't come to agreement on the contract? Why do they have to make something up like, oh, Brett had an issue here? Just nonsense.
Apparently, they even gave Reagan acting classes for her to emulate Brett's every movement and word.
So
I believe this thing about the acting classes. Reagan does kind of have like certain mannerisms that I guess Brett has. Like that's not insane to me. And it's not like that weird either. Like I mean, Brett had a format that worked. They want somebody to match the format as much as they can without being Brett, obviously. So yeah, that's not a huge deal to me.
So obviously, Ian Carroll's video popped off because, of course, it did. Everybody wants drama. Don't lie, you know you all do. It's like a modern version of observing gladiator battles, except absolutely no one has abs, and there's no wildlife, no lions. There are snakes, though. I am sorry for the extra weird interjections that are probably going to come through in this video today. I'm very hyped up for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, around this same time too, people also observed that Brett's content on the channel wasn't even new. As in, it wasn't really covering news stories as it usually would, but seemingly recycling other pieces of content made in the last little while. FYI, in content making land, we call this evergreen, like the trees that don't lose their leaves. I hope that's self-explanatory. But you want to know what's not always self-explanatory? Your metabolism and health, which is why today's management is a do with which is before or after with your decided to style changing. Take your own health or go to lumen.me slash Sydney15 for 15% off
Looks
your
like it was
purchase.
fitness related.
Soon enough, after lots and lots of speculation, Brett herself announced that she was in fact leaving the Daily Wire, saying that most of the rumors were true, but the choice to leave was her own.
Hey guys, some of you have heard the rumors online, and rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. But at this point
We
in my
already
life,
saw this, damn
it's
it.
taking
A hostage video. Blink.
and I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best.
This, to me, feels like a hostage video. Blink twice if you need help, Brett.
I don't see why it
Viewers
would.
observed and made the comment that in this video, Brett looks and seems very emotional and almost on the verge of tears, which I think is
That's
pretty
what I said.
understandable when you have made something and created this thing that is doing very well and you're kind of having it ripped out from under you.
Okay, on what basis do you know that she's having it ripped out from under her when she just said it's her choice to leave? You can't say it's my choice to leave and also this is getting taken away from me. Those are literally, they're exclusive statements. Like you can't, they negate each other. You can't say that. I want to keep this thing, or it's my choice to leave this thing, but this thing is being taken or ripped out from under me, is what Sydney said. You can't have, you can't. Those both can't be true. So you're basically essentially calling Brett a liar when she says it was my choice to leave. Like I said, I understand that maybe they offered Reagan something good, they offered Brett something not so good. Brett says, okay, I guess it's my choice. And I guess they kind of are ripping it out from under her in a way, going behind her back, offering her friend more. But the way Sydney said, I don't know. It's like in conflict with what Brett herself says.
I don't know. I have to imagine that's pretty painful, no? The thing you have dedicated multiple years of your life to, poured your heart and soul into, that's now being handed over to your best friend and producer while you have to make hostage videos pretending that you're fine. I'm just saying. Now, obviously, and unsurprising to absolutely none of us, fans were quite upset by this. And unsurprisingly, the channel has been bleeding subscribers. People have also noticed that Brett unfollowed the Daily Wire as a...
Okay, them losing subscribers and things, it's not a huge deal to me. Also, I want to say, I feel like the show was set up for this from the beginning. Like, this show's, the comment section is very distinct from the other shows in that the other shows are kind of tied to the hosts. Like Matt Walsh's show is the Matt Walsh show. Like Candace Owens was Candace Owens. Same with Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Clavin, whoever else they have. I think that's it. This was the only one that had like a theme and that didn't have the name of the host tied to the show. Obviously it was the comment section with Brett Cooper, but it's easily changed. Unlike, let's say, like a Michael Knowles show. You can't put somebody else in the Michael Knowles show. It'd just be creating a new show, essentially. Whereas this, you can replace the host and put somebody else. And not to say they're easily replaceable, as we're seeing, obviously, Brett Cooper's a talent, and it's kind of hard to replace her. But they can essentially do the same job. Like, with the same name, the same show name, I mean, like, all the hosts, I guess, do the same thing. They just react to content they see. But this one, you can keep the branding and the the name and everything the same and kind of switch out the hosts. And I feel like this was intentional from the beginning, because the way they started the show was they interviewed a bunch of random candidates. Well, not random. They selected women to be candidates for hosting the show, and then they picked. I think Reagan also interviewed to be the host, and which is why she ended up being the host after all. But my point is, like, from the beginning, it wasn't like they hired Brett and were like, okay, we're giving you the Brett Cooper show. Like, it was meant to be like this, I think, from the beginning.
Company, its CEO, and even Brett's replacement.
Okay, so we know she unfollowed the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, and Reagan. The only thing I find weird about this is that she unfollowed Reagan. The other two aren't that big of a deal. I think that the fact she still follows Ben, Matt Walsh, and Michael Knowles are kind of signs that, I don't know, not all is lost. Like, she gets along with these people. Jeremy Boring is like kind of a background figure for the Daily Wire. I know he shows up on Backstage. I actually enjoy listening to him on Backstage, but he's not like a host. He probably didn't have like a personal relationship with Brett Cooper the way Ben, Matt, and Michael did. They probably know her, more personally, whereas Jeremy maybe doesn't. He's the CEO. I'm sure he's doing other stuff. As for unfollowing Reagan, that one's weird, which, like I said, might be a sign that they went behind her back and offered Reagan something, and there's falling out between them. But like I said, that's more speculation. And the fact she doesn't follow the Daily Wire isn't weird to me. Well, maybe it's a little bit weird, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not a sign to me that she like hates the company or something.
Reagan herself on social media. And I think, all of my sarcasm and joking and whatever aside, I think you really only need to be a person with eyes to see that this situation is obviously not a good one. So that is everything that has happened to date publicly that you can go and look at yourselves, and I hope you feel sufficiently filled in. And yes, here is the part where I'm going to tell you all of my opinions. So right out of the gate, full disclosure, Brett and I are not friends. We don't talk, we don't have girly catch-ups on the phone where we talk about fingernails and babies. I don't know why I'm acting like what women talk about is a mystery to me when I am in fact a woman and have lots of female friends. Like, what is wrong with me today? One of you lovely viewers once actually bought Brett some of my tea and had me post it to her, I think in an effort to have her try it, like it, and then promote it. So that is in fact as close as she and I have ever gotten to one another. And I hope you liked the tea, Brett. But I am saying all of this because I want it to be very clear that Brett hasn't told me any of this herself, and I'm saying it because I want to, and because I have eyes and the ability to do some deductive reasoning. I think one of the really hard to swallow pills here is that
Sydney Watson, please marry me. This isn't so much deductive reasoning as it is just jumping to conclusions. There's a difference. You can say it's deductive reasoning that because Brett followed Reagan or unfollowed Reagan, there's a falling out between them. When you say she was ousted and I don't know, I feel like Sydney will get more into it, so I'll refute her or I don't want to say refute. Like, I'm not against Sydney, but I'll explain why I think she's misjudging the situation a little bit, and as she mentions her points.
right-wing conservative media is not free of the same bad behavior and bad practice that goes on a lot of the time at left-wing networks. I've been saying this publicly for some time to varying degrees, and I realize that every time I do, it doesn't really win me a lot of friends, and actually it runs the risk of not only alienating but upsetting audiences and viewers and whatnot, because it's hard to hear that the networks or the personalities or whatever that you like and that you think are trying to do great things and are ideologically on the same page as you are doing untoward things sometimes behind the scenes.
I think of all the conservative networks, the Daily Wire is not one of these. I mean, I don't know. What do people think of business? It's a business at the end of the day. You got to make money. I'm sure Brett expected a lot more if if let's say this was the end of her contract, she obviously wanted a new one. I'd assume wanted more money, right? I assume she wouldn't be happy with whatever she started getting paid. She's probably getting paid, nobody knows you money, because nobody knew her when she started. Now she wants to get, popular internet celebrity money. Maybe they didn't want to offer her that. You know what I mean? they could replace her with Reagan for pennies on the dollar. Excuse me. You know, it's not unthinkable that a company's like, okay, we'll take a loss here. Like, less people will watch the show maybe if Reagan comes in. We can pay her a lot less than we can pay Brett. It only makes sense that if Brett wants more, we should go with her friend Reagan. Because we get maybe a lesser output, but for a lot lesser cost to us. It's a business, bro.
But by the same token, I am also of the view that those of you with functioning frontal lobes are already aware of this information, and you can see it for what it is, regardless of the fact that you ideologically are on the same page as, again, these networks and people and institutions. Where there is money and potentially fame, there is a lot of ego, and there is a lot...
Like I said, I don't think it's ego. I don't think it's any... It's not like malicious how you people... It's a business, bro. Like... You do what you have to win. You cut costs and be as efficient as possible. I feel like Jeremy Boring, of all people, like in that leaked recording to Steven Crowder, he's made this clear. And he's made this clear, I think, outside of that call. Like, he said about hiring people, like, this isn't like a fun job. Like, this isn't like you working for Google or something. This is like a serious job. Like, you're making a sacrifice to come here, like, work your ass off, like, he makes it sound like a hard job. So it's not about it. It's just what he expects of his employees. Like, yeah, it's in a charity. We're here as part of a movement, sure, but you got to make money as well.
Of very, very bad behavior. Now that I'm saying it, I actually kind of feel like it's probably the same thing in basically any industry. Especially for you finance bros. I don't actually know too many finance bros to be able to make that kind of statement, but I do know that a lot of them are borderline alcoholics, so do with that information what you will. Anyway, having been in the media industry for a number of years now, both on the periphery but also involved in many things, I have heard a lot of horror stories from not only people that I'm adjacent to, but friends of mine. I have had my own experiences, and I have seen a lot of not great things go down. So with that said, that is why I feel very confident weighing in here generally, and...
Wait, did I miss what she said? Bad things with the Daily Wire or in general?
In many things. I have heard. Anyway, having been in the media industry for a number of years now, both on the periphery but also involved in...
Okay, so I think she just means bad things in media in general, which I don't think anybody would disagree with. Like, yeah, there's some shady companies out there, some shady people, obviously.
Many things. I have heard a lot of horror stories from not only people that I'm adjacent to, but friends of mine. I have had my own experiences, and I have seen a lot of not great things go down. So with that said, that is why I feel very confident weighing in here generally, and also why I don't feel like I am running the risk of putting out misinformation. I think at this point, a lot of...
Yeah, I think you're jumping.
You have come to trust me, at least to some extent, and you know that I don't really do things because I want to be involved in drama, unless it's...
What? Didn't you say you came back just to... Well, I don't know.
It's making fun of Australian breakdances. So I do hope that what I am saying does not come across as wild speculation. Bottom line, just use your big old brains. You know, you don't have to take what I'm saying as gospel. You can if you want. You don't have to take it with a grain of salt. You can if you want. Just use your head and, you know, do your own deductive reasoning. I don't need to know the nitty-gritty details to know that something not great is happening behind the scenes. And I can say with almost 100% certainty that for Brett, this is not rainbows and butterflies. I know she didn't leave on good terms. I do not believe that she left of her own volition or free will, because realistically, guys, why would you leave?
Okay, so you're saying she literally is not saying the truth when she said it's my choice. I mean, she literally said that. Now, she can be saying that, like, in quotes, like, it was my choice. But we have to trust her at her word. Like I said, otherwise, you're saying she's lying. It's just, I mean, what else can you say? That's what she said. Like I said, it's probably most likely the case that they offered Reagan something less, and Reagan took it behind Brett's back. She was kind of, I guess you could say, forced out in a way. Like, they went with the second option. Maybe as soon as Brett denied her, maybe they offered her a contract. She denied it. I'm trying to figure out in what circumstance Brett could say it was my choice without her lying. If what Sydney's saying is true and she was ousted or something, and she still said it was my choice. Well, she must have not been forced out. That obviously, like, she must have got offered something, said no, and then they went to Reagan and were like, we want you to be the new host.
Leave a show at the height of its popularity, when it's doing tremendously well, when you have seen a massive explosion in growth, and you yourself are so young and up and coming with one of the biggest organizations in media. It logically doesn't make any sense career-wise.
I'm sorry, that would be the best time to leave. What, are you stupid? Sorry, Sydney Watson, don't mean to disrespect women. Are you dumb? Like, no, that would be the best time to leave. When you're young, in the prime of your career, when your show is hot, and you can leave, and your name is popular. Like, people recognize Brett Cooper. They don't recognize the comment section. I mean, I guess they do, but it's more Brett Cooper, as you're seeing by the amount of unsubscribes and the amount of people saying, the amount of people that followed her new YouTube channel. Brett Cooper, her name has value. Like, people want to watch Brett Cooper. Yeah, this would be the best time to leave, because she has the most name value. She's, like you said, she's hot in the prime of her career. People want to see her. If she leaves now, they're going to follow her. If she leaves when she's no longer hot, if she left like in the first year of hosting the comment section, maybe she wouldn't have as many subscribers to her new channel. You know, maybe she wouldn't be able to do her show away from the Daily Wire, which she can do now. So to me, it makes absolute sense. Like I said, she wants to be a mom. She wants to homeschool her kids. She probably wants to run the show on her terms, or her show, her own show, right? Not the comment section, which is now the Daily Wires with Reagan. She probably wants to run her own show on her terms. Now would be the time to do it. You don't have to accept any terms from a company. You do your show whenever you want, how you want. Pay who you want to run it the way you want it to be run. And like I said, now would be the time to do it. Makes no sense from what Sydney just said.
Her hostage video was likely scripted with a ton of legal oversight.
Speculation.
Lawyers were probably very involved.
Speculation.
And it was agreed upon by both parties as to not draw any more attention to this situation than there already was, with all the speculation and whatnot.
All the speculation, like what you're doing now.
I can say with absolute certainty that Brett has signed a big, fat, brutal NDA that means that even if she wants to talk about this, she can't. I don't need to know her
It's not unthinkable. I'd say it's likely that she signed an NDA, but to say it's like certain, but yeah, I'd say it's more than likely that she did sign an NDA.
Personally, to know that she signed some type, she can't. I don't need to know her personally to know that she signed some type of non-disparagement, non-disclosure document. That means that even if she experienced some type of mistreatment while working at the company, she can't say anything about it. And I know this because it is a tool of the industry. It is one of several that are employed, but is the primary one that forces people to shut up. It forces them to slink away into the shadows. And it's this kind of hovering threat that if you do or say anything that is misperceived, that you get dragged into court and litigated into oblivion. Basically, everybody that I know who has worked in media, who has worked for a major company, has signed one of these kind of documents. They sign it when they originally sign on. And
this isn't surprising to me. I don't disagree with Sydney here. I'm sure I believe her. Like, I'm sure it's something that's used very often to like hide, injustices or mistreatments or whatever. I'm not doubting her here.
Sign a contract and then they sign another one again sometimes when they leave the company. Now, to some of you, this probably seems quite normal and fine, that companies and business owners and entities, whatever, have the right to protect themselves from potential disparagement or whatever from a previous employee, and by the same token, that employee also needs to have protection from the company that might do or say something that might impede their chances in the future of finding work. But the problem is that these NDAs inevitably end up covering up wrongdoing. So situations that aren't illegal.
Okay, I was going to say wrongdoing in one sense, but she says not illegal. Okay.
They're not close to being illegal, but they do involve bad behavior and mistreatment that would certainly alter the way that people perceive the individuals involved, or maybe even the company or entity or whatever it.
Okay, well, I would need you to specify what bad behaviors or mistreatment is, because if it's not illegal or close to being illegal, then what do you mean? It's not close to being illegal? So then what? Your boss was a little mean to you? He overworked you a little bit? Like I said, Jeremy Boring's, I feel like, is pretty open about that. The fact that he has the whip out, having his workers, going ham on whatever it is they're doing, like overtime. I don't know, work with little pay or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at that. I'd expect, if the news came out that like, Daily Wire employees are making minimum wage or something like that, I'd be like, oh, That's great. He's saving money. It's what I'd expect from Jeremy Boring. That's what he's. I mean, he's a businessman. He's running a company. Like I said, it's not a fucking charity. Is that what you mean by bad behavior? Because I'd 100% expect that, and I wouldn't even call that bad behavior. It's just what you expect from a businessman. So
large. So audiences simply never know and they never find out, and it means that a lot of this stuff is allowed to not only continue but to proliferate. And I know some of you are not going to like hearing me say this, but I know
like I said, what kind of bad stuff? You'd have to like be more specific, I feel like. Because otherwise, not to be the word police here, but like, it doesn't mean anything if it's far from illegal, as you said, but it's bad, quote unquote, bad stuff. What does that mean?
For a fact, the Daily Wire has had some people sign forever NDAs that effectively prohibit them from discussing their awful experiences
Awful
while
in what
working
way?
for the company. And I want to be
Like I said, awful in what way? I almost guarantee that these awful... Also, how do you know if they signed NDAs? That sounds like rumor. Unbased rumor, but... if by awful experience they were worked to the bone, I'm 0% surprised by that. Not surprised at all.
still clear here. What I'm referring to goes beyond the realm of, oh, this person's unhappy, it's a disgruntled employee, and moves fully into the realm of Daily Wire is effectively covering up bad stuff and then using legal documents.
What is bad stuff? What does bad stuff mean? It means nothing to me. You got to be more specific. Because if, like, I keep going back to this, but if it's far from illegal, I don't think it can be that bad. Like, what is bad stuff? Like, yeah, your employer shouted at you a little bit. Like, I'm not saying that's good, but like I said, I expect this from the Daily Wire. I expect this from somebody like Jeremy Boring, cunning businessman who overworks his employees. I don't have to say this anymore. You guys get what I'm saying.
To stop that information from coming to light. Hello, cherubs. It is Editing Sydney here from the future, and I just want to say with relation to that last statement, for legal reasons, that is all alleged. Once again, for legal reasons, that is all alleged.
Alleged and rumored and on one basis, because you said they signed NDAs and yet this information came out, so they're obviously not respecting their NDAs if you heard it from somebody who signed one. So how do you... This is a great screen capture, but sorry, Sydney. But yeah, you should have said alleged from the beginning, because if these people signed an NDA and you heard it from them or heard it from somebody or other, they're not respecting their NDAs that well. So you might as well say everything you heard.
Now back to the video. I hope you are all able to understand why I can't go into detail or explain further here as much as I would really like to. So back to Brett. I will say again, I don't know what happened specifically.
Well, then why say it at all? You can't go into detail. Just at least explain what bad means. Like, give us some idea. You heard it from a friend of a friend that had an NDA and they didn't respect it and went and told somebody anyway. Might as well share everything they told you. Or they told your friend of a friend.
Specifically to her. What I do know is that this wasn't a happy parting of ways. And as an aside, I've just got to note, I will say again, I don't know what happened specifically to her. What I do know is that this wasn't a happy parting of ways. And as an aside...
I wouldn't be surprised at that it wasn't happy, but that it wasn't mutual, which is what Sydney's more insinuating, is questionable.
I've just got to say, I think it's really messed up that Brett is not only being replaced with her best friend and producer, but that she's being replaced at all. Again, I don't know, Ray.
You think it's messed up that she's being replaced at all? Like I said, this is intentional. This is from the beginning. They made the show not the host's name because they knew they wanted to rotate hosts. They interviewed a bunch of potential candidates for the host spot. The show was made this way. I don't think it was ever meant to be just Brett Cooper forever. Otherwise, like I said, they would have had Brett Cooper's name tied to her channel, you know? Yeah, not surprising to me. And so it seems, it's stupid to say that's messed up they're replacing her at all.
Again, I'm sure she's a nice person, and I'm trying to find a nice way of saying this.
Also, poor Reagan, she's like, got up in the middle. Well, maybe not that poor. I mean, she did kind of go behind her friend's back, but allegedly. Where I'm assuming.
It's not great to me to take your best friend's job. I find it.
Okay, yeah, that does seem a little bit weird. I mean, I do think there's reason for why Brett Cooper unfollowed her, but yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's not awesome to do this to somebody that you reportedly, allegedly care about. And evidently, Brett doesn't appreciate it either, which is why they're not friends anymore, which is why she doesn't follow her on social media. And I dare say that we won't be seeing the two of them together in polite company anytime soon. Perhaps what adds insult to
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't. But to say that her getting replaced at all is, I forgot what language she used. Like bad. Her is, I guess, insinuating it's mistreatment to replace Brett at all. It's just nonsense.
the injury here is that this whole situation is being painted as a peaceful transition, the passing of the torch, if you will. But if it was that, then why didn't this happen on camera with the two of them in the same room? Why wasn't there any sort of discussion between the two of them publicly?
Like I said, I agree on this point. Like I don't think there's I don't think it's amicable between Brett and Reagan. Like I'm sure Reagan took a deal behind Brett's back. Brett didn't know about it. As Brett is leaving or having contract talks, the contract talks aren't going good. They offer one to Reagan. Brett doesn't know about it. And she feels backstabbed or something when she finds out Reagan is the one replacing her. Like I'm sure it was probably it's probably true that it was Brett's choice to leave. It probably came as a surprise that Reagan was her replacement, is what I'll say. Like when she found out Reagan was the one replacing her, I'm sure she would have been shocked at that. And that's, how it would happen, that she would say it's her choice to leave, and yet Reagan's the one replacing her and her having a falling out with Reagan.
That demonstrates that things are fine. When there's silence is often indicative of not good stuff going on.
So silence makes you culpable? Is what you're saying, Sydney Watson? I don't like speaking in superlatives. That's like most moronic statement I've ever heard. I feel like easily one of. So what is the Fifth Amendment? Like what? Silence makes you guilty is what Sydney Watson is saying here. Just think about what you just said, Sydney Watson. Like 1,000 IQ statement. Silence is indicative of not good stuff going on. Whatever she just said. Genius.
But again, I feel like that's just me beating a dead horse because I think it's pretty clear that these two are not friends, that this wasn't a
No, sorry, not to harp on this point. No, silence is not, in case you were wondering, no, silence is not indicative of bad stuff going on. No, silence is indicative of nothing. It's literally silence. Doesn't make you culpable. Doesn't free you from culpability, but that's what silence is. If you speak, anything you say will be used against you. They say when they read you your Miranda rights. But if you don't speak, how can silence be used against you?
peaceful transition, that it wasn't a happy moment where, oh, my friend is leveling up and I'm going off to do something else. I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we arrived and it wasn't a peaceful transition, that it wasn't a happy moment where, oh, my friend is leveling up and I'm going off to do something else. I think that we'd be...
That might not be how it's... That might not be what actually happened, but that is effectively what's going to happen. Brett is at the height of her career. Everybody knows her name. Everybody loves Brett. They're kind of viewing the Daily Wire in a negative light now. Now that Brett is leaving, people are kind of siding with Brett in a way in this public... I want to say this public war, but it doesn't seem like Brett is at war with the Daily Wire. I'm sure she has like some negative opinion of them maybe by the way this situation got handled, but she is in a way leveling up. She gets to keep her own show. This is, you know what this is like to me? It's like when Call Her Daddy, the podcast that was on with Barstool Sports. It's like when their contract finished and the girl who runs it, I forgot her name. The blonde girl, the one that interviewed Kamala Harris. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She went and she kept the show, right? So it's a little bit different in that she kept the name of the show. Oh, Alex Cooper. Alex Cooper got to keep the name of the show and continue the show without Barstool Sports running it for her, without being under them, paid by them. This is similar, except Brett Cooper has more... her name is worth more than Alex Cooper's was. Oh, that's funny. I'm going to get these confused because they have the same last name. But Alex Cooper was really, her whole brand was Call Her Daddy because it was a two-woman show, two-woman podcast. Her name, Alex Cooper, didn't really mean much. The Call Her Daddy brand did. And that's why it was kind of important for her to keep the brand. That's why it's such a big deal for Barstool to give her the brand. They didn't have to. They could have got rid of Alex Cooper and brought in a new host, the way the Daily Wire did. But they gave her the brand and her name. The difference here is the comment section sure holds some value, but I think Brett Cooper's name holds more value. So I think she'll more than level up on her own. I think she'll be doing probably maybe even better on her own than she was with the Daily Wire. They did her a favor in a way. Everyone's happy. She goes and she gets to run the show on her own terms, probably more popular than ever. Reagan gets to be the host of a show. The Daily Wire gets to fill a vacancy, and pay them less than what Brett Cooper cost them. Everybody wins.
Kidding ourselves if we arrived at that conclusion. Beyond that, I think it's actually really important to note that assuming that Reagan is in fact innocent in all of this, what Daily Wire is actually doing to her is kind of messed up. The comments say,
I do agree with this. It is a little weird that they went to, out of all the people they interviewed, they couldn't find anybody other than Brett's best friend to run the show. Like, a little bit weird that they kind of ruined a friendship in that way, but hey, that's business. They ain't worried about that.
Section was built around Brett. It was popularized by Brett. Replacing her, especially like this.
Stop. It was popularized by Brett. No. It was popularized by the Daily Wire. It was manufactured, created by the Daily Wire. I'm sure Brett had a lot of input. The show was an idea before we knew Brett. The show was in production before, or I don't know if production, it was being created before Brett was a thing, right? Before we knew who Brett was. Sure, Brett came in, I'm sure added her input, made it mostly what it was today, mostly what it is today. But she didn't make it popular. The Daily Wire made her popular because they put their machine behind her. I hate the term industry plant. In a way, she's kind of like an industry plant, right? Like I don't mean to use that in a negative sense. Like, obviously she's very talented. She deserves the fame she has, all her success. I'm glad she's famous. I'm glad she's a noteworthy voice in the conservative movement. But she effectively is like the definition of an industry plant. They interviewed people. They were going to decide which one they were going to make famous. They picked one, ended up being Brett. They put her in her chair and put the cameras pointing at her, put the production team behind the cameras, made the set for her, did everything. They said, you sit here, read the prompt, look pretty, and we'll make you famous. And that's essentially what happened.
Means that the audience won't give Reagan a fair chance. And I bet you anything that this show will not grow any further than it already has. And if it does, I will be very surprised. Like I said earlier, subscribers are already falling off a cliff. I will actually say here that a company owning a show and its IP and all of this is not uncommon. That's actually very, very normal in this industry. And companies hiring somebody to come in and host that show is also very normal, very typical. None of this is abnormal.
Then why are you bitching?
Comment section is Daily Wire property, and for those of you who weren't aware, they actually approached another content creator, a woman called Chrissy Clark.
Oh, this is new to me. I haven't seen this far in the video. I'm curious to see what Sydney has to say. Wait, I wanted to comment on something we just watched, but I was eating cake. Sorry.
Not uncommon. That's further than it already has.
Oh, on Sydney saying that she doesn't think the show will grow more than it already has. I think I agree. I think it's going to stagnate a little bit. I think the Daily Wire maybe expected this to go a little bit smoother than it has. And yeah, I do think they made a misstep in not making the separation more like amicable between the two hosts. If it was more obvious the two hosts got along, as in Brett and Reagan, then it would have been maybe a good send-off, better for the Daily Wire overall. Like, people would have had a more positive impression of the show after Brett leaves. Sure, they would still go and watch Brett probably, but all the comments on Megan. Oh, and the guy, Decoy Voice, I think is his name. He made an idiotic statement. He was like, because on the episodes where Reagan came in as Brett's replacement, not her replacement, but her like fill-in before we knew Brett was leaving, all the comments were kind of positive. They were like, oh, Reagan's just as smart as Brett, or I don't know, whatever, things like that. And then after the fact, when we know Brett's leaving, all the comments are negative towards Reagan. And obviously, it's just public perception. It's just because they're mad at the Daily Wire, they're going to leave a negative comment toward Reagan. She's the new representative. Obviously, she's on the Daily Wire side in a way. And that guy, Decoy Voice, was like, oh, it wouldn't surprise me if these positive comments were planted here by bots or something. So fucking stupid, bro. Like obviously, it's just public perception. Like, Reagan and Brett are friendly. Were friendly, seen as friendly before. People are going to leave positive comments. It's like, if you're friends with somebody and they have a friend, you're going to be friendly towards them even if they're not your friend. But if your friend is no longer friends with them, well, you're also going to be not friends with them. You're going to see them in a negative light. It's the same thing here, but, you know, some people are just brain dead.
And its IP and all of this is not uncommon. That's actually very, very normal in this industry. And companies hiring somebody to come in and host that show is also very normal, very typical. None of this is abnormal. The comment section is Daily Wire property. And for those of you who weren't aware, they actually approached another content creator, a woman called Chrissy Clark, at the inception of the show to host it. I will actually link Chrissy's information in the description box. I think you guys will really like her. She's adorable. She's also trying to grow her YouTube channel.
Okay, this is news to me. Okay, now I'm curious. I'm going to make a point here. Let me see what she says about Chrissy, whatever her name is. Chrissy Clark. Let's just see how popular this person is. I'm curious. Yeah, don't mind me. What the hell is this? Chrissy Clark. Chrissy Clark. This woman. Oh my gosh.
I took 2 things.
Piss off. Okay, 24.
The biggest OnlyFans creator.
Piss off. Can a Christian OF model exist? No. This woman is not so different. I mean, not so different from Brett Cooper. Decent looking woman and a nice set covering conservative media. I'm sure I can guess 90% of her takes just by the type of content she posts. She only has 24,000 subscribers. What are you guys saying? She's that much less talented compared to Brett? What, is she that much uglier? No, she's not ugly. But that's what I'm getting at. A seemingly, like, I haven't watched her videos. I'm assuming she's talented, right? At least Sydney Watson thinks so, right? A talented, decent-looking woman in a good set. Only 24,000 subscribers. Not on the left. Oh shit! I wish I had 24,000 subscribers. But why is she not Brett Cooper level famous? It's because she doesn't have the Daily Wire pushing behind her. If this person accepted the contract Brett did, she'd be Brett Cooper, and we wouldn't know who Brett Cooper would be. Chrissy Clark.
And also go give her a follow. Anyway, the show then cast Brett instead. So while it's not abnormal at all to have a show, have an entity that already exists, and then have a host and then put them together and make greatness, it is weird, at least in my opinion, to assume that those two things don't become one entity, because they do. You know, you associate show with...
Okay, but that's your problem. If you associate the show and the host, that's your problem. The Daily Wire still owns the show, and the host can piss off. They don't own the show. I mean, what the? It's like if I became entitled to my job position, and like I'm like, oh, my job position, me and my job position become one. Like, let's say the company I work for opens a new position and it's unique in some way, and I'm the first one to do that job, and I do it for years, and I become synonymous with that job position. Doesn't mean I'm entitled to it. Yeah, it's my job. Yeah, I'm sure I'm very experienced. I'm gonna be associated with it. It's not mine. I don't own it. I'm not entitled to it in some way. Like now what you're arguing is that Brett is entitled to her show, even though it's not her show. It's the Daily Wire's show. It's her show, and that she's part of it. I'm sure she had like a lot of artistic input, a lot of, you know, input on what she covers, how the show's done. It's not her show. It's a Daily Wire show. Like you literally just said. I like that Sydney Watson explains how this works, and then she's like, well, but people associate them, so I mean it kind of belongs to her. She's kind of entitled to it. Like, no, you literally just said. Anyway.
With person and person with show, and they just kind of become like one and the same. So when you try to replace a host on an entity that people already know and are familiar with, it just doesn't go down so well. And to reiterate, Reagan has already been criticized for mimicking Brett's mannerisms and speech, and this speaks to the claims made.
Not a big deal. Maybe she took acting classes. I ain't worry about it. Who cares? If you don't like the show, don't watch it.
Earlier by Ian Carroll in his video.
Wait, what the heck? That's not Ian Carroll.
And this speaks to the claims made earlier by...
This is... I forgot her name. Megyn Kelly.
Ian Carroll in his video. The reality here is that this is an industry that is built largely around personality. You can't just copy-paste a new person into an existing role and expect it to work.
Wait, was there a reason she put Megyn Kelly up? Does she also have like a situation like this?
Very rarely does. People, especially on YouTube, repeat. You can't just copy-paste a new person into an existing role and expect it to work.
Right. I don't disagree with this, but that's up to the business. I mean, if it doesn't work, the business loses money. That's up to them if they want to replace somebody, and it's their dollars that decide. Like I said, how do you know Brett Cooper wasn't asking for a gajillion dollars a year? Like, obviously we can't pay that. We're going to give Reagan $50 and a lollipop every week, and then she'll do the show with that. Obviously, that's only logical. Yeah, you might lose a few subs in the process, but you're going to make more. It's a net benefit to put the new host in place. Yeah, it's not going to go over well with fans. They're not going to be overjoyed to have to watch a new. They're going to be overjoyed about watching a new host, getting attached to this new host. They're not going to enjoy her at first, but that's their problem. And at the end of the day, it's the business's problem. If the business ends up losing because of the decision they made, you can keep watching Brett Cooper's content somewhere else. The business is the one that's going to suffer if they made a bad decision.
Very rarely does. People, especially on YouTube, repeatedly show up for the content creators that they like, and they expect to see the content creators that they like. And so I think that's why, for me, watching all of this unfold, it rubs me the wrong way. So with that said, I am going to link Brett's new YouTube channel.
At the end of all this, Sydney's conclusion is, it rubs me the wrong way. Well, that's your fucking problem, bro. It rubs me the wrong way. I want Brett Cooper back. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a hissy fit about wanting Brett Cooper. I'm checking my audio, by the way, just because when I mute it, I'm just making sure that my audio... Okay, yeah, it works. Sorry. Just wanted to check that real quick. Yeah, this is Sydney Watson during a hissy one. I like Brett Cooper. I want her back. I don't know. Just nonsense.
Channel in the description box of this video, and I hope you will all go and show her a ton of love and support, because
she don't need your shout out, bro. She don't need your... She got her fans, bro. You know what I'm saying? Brett Cooper... how famous is Sydney Watson? Damn, she's really famous. Okay. But I mean, Brett Cooper is like, blew you out the water in like 2 years. I'm not... This is me being mean to Sydney Watson. I'm a nobody, so I mean, what do I know? I don't mean to be a prick here, all right? Like I said, I like Sydney Watson. I'm not trying to be a prick, but... yeah, Brett Cooper's gonna be fine. She ain't worried about a shout out. She gonna be alright. Trust and believe she gonna be making more money than she ever has on her own channel. Trust and believe she gonna run it on her terms. She gonna be able to take time off to homeschool her children. She's gonna be able to spend more time at home, take breaks whenever she wants to, maybe get a fill-in host for herself if she wants. And all's well. She's the winner in all this.
I know that this has not been fun or easy, and maybe at one point she will be able to say...
Okay, maybe she lost a friend, so what? Don't be so sensitive.
Something I highly doubt it, but I think the details of this situation, should they ever come to light, will not be pleasant, and she's probably going through it right now. So go and give that small child some love because this stuff isn't easy. And
Fuck, I didn't realize I was muted. See, here's the problem. 23-year-old small child? What?
it's very hard when it's all happening very publicly. As for little old me, I know that some of you are going to get very cross at me for saying all of this, because how could I? And I also know that there's an element here.
No, it's not how could you. It's more like you're saying a lot of nonsense, you're babbling. No receipts, no proof. A lot of speculation. A lot of retardation, no offense. Silence is what did she say? I don't remember. Like silence makes you culpable. Silence implies culpability or something like that. Absolute nonsense. But yeah, it's mostly just hearsay is what this whole video comes down to. Also, she said something earlier that I wanted to say.
Maybe at one point she will be able to say something. I want her a ton of...
Oh, the details coming to light. I'll tell you all the details right now, bro. I'm fucking clairvoyant. I have million IQ. This is what happened. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this stream up real quick. But I think maybe I'll make a follow-up stream reacting to some other videos, because there's a lot of nonsense, like I said. But I feel like this video kind of goes over most of it. Unfortunately, Sydney just happened to be the one I pick on, but everyone has a stupid take on this, and some of them jump to way more conclusions than Sydney does. You know, to be fair to Sydney, like she was pretty tame with her. Like I said, Decoy Voice had like some that insane, oh, they planted comments, the Daily Wire using bots. Just nonsense. What was it saying? The details of the situation. I'll tell you right now, because I'm so smart. I have a master's in psychology. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Brett Cooper's contract ran out. The Daily Wire went to her with the new contract. It was fairly low for somebody as famous as her. She said, no, I don't want this contract. I want a little bit more money. I want a little bit more time off. I want to be a mother. I want to run the show on my own terms. Daily Wire said, no, we're only offering you these pennies that we offered you here in the contract. Brett Cooper said, I think I'm good. They said, okay, bet. They went to Reagan, her producer. They said, we'll offer you a few more pennies that we offered Brett. They didn't tell her how much, obviously. They didn't tell her how much they offered Brett, but they gave her the contract, slid that contract in there. All right, let me get the face cam on. They slid that contract to her, had a few more pennies than what they offered Brett. And they said, do you want to run the show? And she was like, bet. That sounds pretty good to me. Let me make up some numbers. How much do you guys think Brett was making? Maybe like a couple million a year? These numbers are completely unfounded. I have no idea how much a celebrity makes. How much an internet celebrity podcast host makes. But let's say, like, just for speculation, let's say she's making like $2 million a year. They offered Reagan, I don't know, $500K. Or let's say they offered Brett that same $2 million. She's like, no, I'm way more famous than when I started. No, you need to offer me a little bit more. I could make way more than that on my own. They're like, no, we good. And they went to Reagan. And they're like, okay, we'll offer you $500K. And she's like, man, that's way more than I make as a producer. And I get famous and I get to run a show and all this other stuff. Like, say less. And so she said yes, behind Brett's back. Brett didn't like that, unfollowed Reagan. And they no longer speak. Reagan's the new host, and Brett can piss off and make her own show. That's exactly what happened. I'm like 1,000% sure. Call me Nostradamus. Wait, actually, isn't Nostradamus like when you predict the future? Am I retarded? Predicting, yeah, it is about predict. Okay, well, I didn't predict the future here. I predicted the past, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Pretty sure that's exactly what happened. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. Come back to this video whenever the truth comes out, and then be like, whoa, Gerardo's so fucking smart.
And she's probably going through it right now. So go and give that small child some love.
Small child.
Because
the
this stuff isn't
infantilization
easy.
is crazy.
And It's very hard when it's all happening very publicly. As for little old me, I know.
And I'm sure it's not easy for Brett. I'm sure she is kind of struggling a little bit, which is, you know, fully expected. Like, yeah. It must hurt that your friend kind of took your spot without you knowing, and your friend didn't talk to you about it, and which is why she unfollowed her. I don't know. Makes sense.
Know that
Women care about stuff like that.
some of you are going to get very cross at me for saying all of this, because how could I? And I also know that there's an element here where, you know, people are going to be
Like I said, I'm not like upset at Sydney for making this video. Like, yeah, she's speculating, she's saying some nonsense things, but I don't hate her or anything. I like Sydney Watson. I did just ask for her hand in marriage. I mean, I'm just saying, it's out there, you know. Yeah, let me just stop there. But I'm not upset at Sydney Watson. Yeah, this video was a little bit dumb. I don't think she's dumb. I think she jumped to conclusions a bit in this video, but I don't think anybody's angry for it. Matter of fact, I think most people agree with Sydney Watson. If anybody gets negative opinions about them after making a video on the situation, it'd be me, because I'm the only one kind of saying this was a mutual parting. Everyone else is speculating like, oh, the Daily Wire screwed over Brett Cooper, things like that. So I'm sure we're about to react to the comments. I'm sure they're all positive towards Sydney Watson and agreeing with her.
be like, oh, you're just saying all this because you want to stir up drama, cause drama, and that's really not what it is. Whenever I tell you guys
And I believe her. I don't think she's just starting drama. Like, yeah, she's reacting to drama. Like, the drama is already out there, to be fair. So, I could see how it benefits Sydney to react to drama, but I don't think she's like propagating it.
things are
Well, I guess in a way she is, but I'm trying to defend Sydney here. All right.
try to give you insight into the industry. It's genuinely just because I think you deserve to know. It's not because I get something out of it. I actually am very nervous uploading these kinds of videos because I hope it's obvious why. But I really
Wait, what?
think that you
Because
could, because I hope it's obvious why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see why Sydney would be nervous to upload a video like this. And I believe that she is nervous. And I'm trying to be friendly, okay? I'm making amends with Sydney. I was a little harsh to her at the beginning of the video, okay? But yeah, I can understand. If you're in the vicinity of like big companies, like like I said, they're where I want to hire me, shit, I'm available. I'm just saying. Y'all got a spot for a 5'7" ugly Hispanic dude? You know what I'm saying? I'm here. But where y'all at? Give me a contract. $100,000 a year. Shit. It's easier than that, bro. $70,000 a year. I'll quit my job right now. You know what I'm saying? But well, yeah, I believe Sydney. If I was in the vicinity of big companies, I'd be scared to say certain things about them too. But anyway, let me react to some of these comments. I want to keep Sydney playing in the background, but I'm not going to be able to focus. Brett could just do what Top Gear did some years ago. Start a brand new show. It's basically the same show you watch. Well, you watch the old show fall apart. Exactly. Why are y'all making Brett Cooper out like the victim? She's going to go off, make her own show, make more money than she ever made. And the comment section is going to lose some subscribers. With Reagan at the helm, people are going to have a negative impression of her. And that's that. Brett Cooper came out the winner. Why are y'all making her seem like the victim? You yourselves are saying this. Look at this comment. And this person's probably on Brett's side. Brett deleted photos of old photos of Reagan on her Instagram. Clear indication Reagan's not innocent. Obviously, like I said, they offered Reagan something behind Brett's back. That's what happened. Disney killed one Snow White. The Reagan's killing the other one. Sure, buddy. Steven Crowder, Candace Owens, and now, okay, Candace Owens, different situation. She was being anti-Semitic. Steven Crowder, just straight up retarded, bro. I hate Steven Crowder. Never liked him, even before that situation. But after the situation, you know, leaking phone calls with somebody you call your friend. Not even, I think it's hilarious that Steven Crowder was complaining about the contract of some shadowy company, and the company just came out and was like, yeah, it's us. Like, and it's such a big deal, you know. Fucking retard, Steven Crowder. Anyway, no, I ain't worried about him. These two situations are different. DW's making quite a name for itself, not in a good way. Fun fact, this first finally committed me to the brand. That's funny. DW botched it, replacing her with her friend. It sets the friend up for an uphill battle, resolution, and insults the fan. This, I can agree with, okay? Her friend kind of got a little screwed over here. She lost, as in Reagan, lost her friend. is now running a show where most of the fans of it don't really like her, and yeah, she's gonna struggle a little bit. I think if anybody's the victim here, Reagan is. You know, I mean, she did accept the contract behind Brett's back, but you know, I'm feeling for her. You know, Brett's gonna be all right. Like I said, she's gonna run the show. She's gonna be just fine. But anyway, sorry, looking at something real quick. Brett Cooper and YouTube top videos have Reagan in them. YouTube associates Brett Cooper with the comment section. So what? Through words not compete clause, I bet Brett can't make videos for at least a year so that the news comment section won't have to worry about competing with Brett. Okay, that's not out of the norm. Bigger any company gets, the more it gets corporate-like. Newsflash, even if it's small, it'd be corporate-like because, I mean, this business wants to get competitive. From the beginning, they were corporate-like. Just a person who doesn't know how business works. That's fine. I think Daily Wire made a great miscalculation. This, I might agree with this. This would be the worst you can say. Because Brett Cooper's going to go off and be, you know, Brett Cooper. Already. Yeah, you guys get the point. They think their audience is going to be loyal to them. However, our audience is of a generation that was programmed by MSM to be loyal to the brand over the person. Nonsense. They aren't asking what she did wrong. They are asking what the brand did wrong. Coming from an older generation that was indoctrinated into brand loyalty, I can honestly say this is so refreshing to see and gives me hope for the future. Yeah, I don't know if I agree 100% with what this person said. They're getting a little too philosophical for me, but yeah, I agree. They're Brett Cooper's fans are loyal to Brett Cooper, not to the show, so they're gonna go and watch Brett Cooper. Yeah. I wanted to look up a comment section. I want to look up Brett Cooper. That's who I wanted to see. Yeah, exactly. So why are you worried? She gonna be alright. In the US, NDAs don't apply if legal serious occurred and can't be a person definitely Jerry Maximum. Yeah, so this is something I looked up as well because I was curious. And it seems true. But as Sydney said, it wasn't illegal. So why, like, what are you... Look, here's another retard. The real reason Brett Cooper left the Daily Wire. I've watched a few of these videos. They're all nothing. They're all just speculation. But the real reason ends up just being... I don't even know. Like, do they even say? I have to react to more. I'll do a follow-up to this, definitely. I'll react to more videos. Oh, this looks like some tea. You're saying act was actually Coach Mimic? Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Brett's mom liked to comment on a post from Reagan's Instagram that said, "No matter how many acting classes you take or watch Brett's old videos, you will never be Brett. It's sad that you took the money and snubbed your best friend. I hope the amount of money DW offered was worth your friendship with Brett. You lost a good one." Yeah, that's probably what happened. This isn't tea. I literally just said that. I'm a genius. It is weird, Brett's mom liking this post though. Kind of speaking without, you know, breaking her NDA. This is a joke, you fucking retard. The weirdest thing I saw out of Daily Wire was during election night. Boring, Noel Shapiro, and Clavin all had women come out to dust off their expensive suits, fill their drink glasses, and light up their cigars. It was just odd. Like, they could have easily done this themselves. Like, that was probably a joke, you fucking retard. Exactly. What do you keep women around for? That's all they're good for, buddy? No, just kidding. I have to say I'm kidding for the retards that watch this and don't know I'm being sarcastic. What is milk toast? When this even becomes weird for viewers. Yeah, like, what's so weird about that? Like, bro, obviously it was a bit. Exactly. They're doing a bit, you idiot. It was just kind of dumb scripted thing to make them look like rich official mainstream guys have assistants doing that. It wasn't serious. I love things to criticize them for. This is a silly one. Okay, I'm glad there's normal people in the comments. I don't understand why they do this kind of thing. I had a subscription to a platform. I just know this is a fucking soy boy liberal. No, just kidding. But I mean, come on. The ad for the chocolate bar has some super misogynistic stuff. Who does this? Conservative. Gaston is zero. Yeah, I don't know about all this. Yeah, whatever. Wait, what? Okay, this is wild. Their children's content has cursing in it? That's wild to me. Okay. Well, let's listen to the rest of what
But I really think that you
Sydney
deserve to
Watson
know
has to say.
who is handing information down to you and who you're giving your money to and who you are supporting. Yeah, media companies across the board behave badly, and I would venture to say that it's maybe less common when they don't. They do bad things, they cover things up, they create all sorts of legal documents and legal restrictions that stop people from ever really meaningfully
Doesn't
blowing the
surprise
whistle.
me.
They hide legal situations behind arbitration where nothing is public and nothing can ever come to light. And audiences, I think, in a lot of ways, get duped by all of this. Sorry, let me say that like an American. Duped. No, that's still wrong. Get duped. What am I even doing today? And I don't think you have to look terribly far to find all sorts of great examples of exactly what I am describing to you here, not only on the right wing, but obviously, of course, on the left as well. And when you sort of decouple yourself from the ideological constraints of this is my side, I must never criticize my side, you start to realize that there are bad faith actors and bad players and bad people everywhere. And the truth of the matter, guys, is that the reason you really don't hear a lot about this outside of all the things I described is because a lot of the people involved just want to move on with their lives. They want to put it behind them. They want to move forward as best they can. They want to be
Makes
hireable
sense.
because, if you go scorched earth, no one wants you on their team. But also, there's obviously this tremendous fear of doing or saying the wrong thing and being dragged into court. I know people personally who feel that way, and I can relate to a lot of the negative feelings surrounding this issue as well. So yes, bad things happen in this capacity all of the time.
What is
People
this
are
string
unable
going
to
on
blow the
for?
whistle. They're unable to talk about it a lot of the time. Brett Cooper was definitely done dirty in her situation, and I think that she needs a lot of love and support right
Maybe.
now. I do hope that she bounces back and is able to do good stuff and is able to go out on her own and be successful, because that is
She will bounce back. She will be successful. People are here to follow
one
her.
of the greatest things that you can do. And it's also why independent media is so importante. And why I love having you guys around on this channel supporting me, showing up whenever I make my psycho content, because it means that I get to just tell you stuff, or to the best of my ability, I get to tell you stuff. So I'm very appreciative of that. I have to stop doing these impersonal videos because I feel like I'm becoming one of those like other kinds of YouTubers, and I don't want that. So regular videos coming down the pipeline. I'm working on a bunch of them. I have a bunch of ideas. They'll be my normal deep dive kind of ones. But if you do want more of these impersonal ones, obviously let me know, because they are infinitely easier to make, and I always feel like we connect. So there's that. If I can leave you guys with any sort of sentiment here, it's that you need to be discerning, because media is a cult of personality. There are lots of people who are great, who are wonderful human beings behind the scenes and on camera. But there's also a lot of that that's not the case at all. And I think that it's important for audiences to recognize that the people that you're listening to, the institutions that you support, the companies that you support, they're not infallible. And just because they align with you ideologically does not suddenly mean that they're perfect. I love you guys. I'm very, very grateful that you give me the ability to remain independent. I am
Yeah, I agree. Whatever she said. Oh shit, my keyboard died. Well, that's the end of this video because my keyboard died. No, it was pretty much over anyway. Maybe I should check out this Chrissy Clark lady. But I'm sure. Like, no offense to her, but she ain't pulling no Brett Cooper numbers. You know what I mean? Shit, I wish I pulled these numbers though. Anyway, look, she makes a video on Brett Cooper and she blows up. That's funny. But it is what it is. Thank you for watching, people that tune in the future. Like I said, not trying to hate on Sydney Watson, but she had some not so great takes here, and most of the people who cover this situation don't either. But it is what it is. That's the nature of this. So, oh my gosh, that was insane. But